Well, good evening and welcome, fellow explorers, fellow fifth element eaters, fellow ether suckers, fellow mud flooders, fellow Tartarian royalty, fellow brunettes, fellow.
I love it.
Love y'all. Jennifer, my
Oh,
sister, how
well,
are you?
I am well. Please excuse me for not having the cam on right now. I I've had quite a day. How is your day?
Well, I don't know if it's been quite of a day as you're quite of a day. Um, when you're mentally battling every day the ridiculousness of clown world, every day is one of those days.
Mm,
But today's been a good day. It's been
good.
Mr. 45 said the quiet part out loud earlier today, which I thought was awesome. Um, and just a lot of things happening, and
Mm,
a lot of good things happening. The
okay.
guy that led the old raid down in good old Mar-a-Lago was escorted out of the FBI today,
Oh,
and
really? Oh, wow.
so that shows me that there was a little bit of cooperation between certain parties. Like
Mm-hmm.
these traps are just beautiful, and they're being sprung beautifully. Welcome
Nice.
everybody in the chat. Welcome Casey. Thank
Hi,
you.
Casey.
Um, and if you haven't been following Jennifer, one of the reasons why Jennifer's in the state she's always in is because she's she's got a lot on her plate, and I'm frankly amazed at all the stuff that she gets accomplished. So
Well,
kudos, Jennifer. God
thank
bless you,
you.
young
Thank you,
lady.
brother. Thank you, brother. It's sometimes, it could be a little, but you know what? I see that all of us since 2020 have been on a different path, a journey that we didn't think we would be on, right? But
Right?
it has been so transformative is the word.
Yeah. Yes. Especially in your case, you've been going through a lot and transforming a lot.
Yeah.
And to your credit, I mean, you seem to be holding up pretty
Thank you.
well. And Jen's, I think, onto some things, and besides the normal stuff. And I think she's working on a project. I think she's working on her website, right?
Yeah, well, not as
Or
active as I should.
thinking about it.
I will, yeah. I'm working on some things that, I'll be sharing more of. I am like, even though I'm saying today was something else, I welcome, everything right now. It's a education, I know, and it's leading to a place that I know, like, we've always said God wins, but never before than now do I see how he's showing
Yes.
his hand in so many things.
Yeah, he's opening. If you're open to seeing it, he's showing it to you right now. I see it very clearly.
Yeah. And it's on that microcosm level. I'm watching a lot happening with the system, even on a microcosm
Hmm.
level. Lots of big wigs and the power brokers, a lot of them are just falling, and their falls are very sudden. They're coming in ways that are unexpected. Like, wow, I didn't know that would happen.
Yes, the modern day robber barons. I
Right.
just want to use that. I always have to try to throw that phrase in, robber baron. I just like that phrase, robber baron.
Yeah, it is a
Eyes a
good
lot,
phrase.
robber baron.
Right, right. It sums it up well.
Casey, I love that. I just some of the things that pop up in the chat, I are great. Sorry, I had to put my three-legged stray in the room while the other stray comes in out of the rain. Nice.
Cute.
Next thing is going to be a pirate with a peg leg, and got to answer the door because blah blah blah.
Right.
We love you, Casey.
Yes.
Karen, are you on yet?
Hey, Karen. Karen's here.
Is she here? I don't see her in the chat. I'm just curious because
Oh, okay. No,
she's usually an early bird to the class.
yes, yes. Karen's been doing, I think, a bit of travel. She has some exciting things going on. You know, sometimes she may take little trips, unexpected trips, and she shares. If you find her on Instagram, she shares a lot of her adventures.
I see.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what her adventures are like.
Right, because she's hanging out with family. She's like really got a big family.
I mean, she's just. I could just imagine with her sense of humor. I could just imagine the stuff that, you know.
Oh yeah, they're having
Like,
fun.
if her family's anything like her.
Yeah, they're a fun group. I can just tell, like they're wonderful. And it's nice because it looks like she has taken her place as the leader, you know.
Like the matriarch.
Right, the matriarch of all the cousins. They're looking to her, and she's just really stepping up. It's wonderful to see.
Gosh, the cat was shot. So the cat was shot, so he had the leg removed.
Oh no, really? The
I don't mean to laugh, but man,
boy.
that's like
that's
drive-bys in the hood in Indiana.
oh boy, in the alleys, huh?
Sorry, Casey. I'm just a little spicy today, in a good way. In a good way. Just, got a lot of fresh, spicy memes today. Got a lot of excellent deep dive stuff today that I think will open some eyes. I hope, and
Nice.
at least get some brain cells popping. Get them pop. Who used to say that? It was like a rapper or somebody's. Every time they'd interview him, they'd say, "It's popping. It's getting ready to pop. It's popping."
That's funny.
I have no idea who. Maybe I just made it up in my head. I don't know, but
No, it's probably someone. I just can't think of it now.
it's always somebody. If I'm pretty safe, and if I say something, somebody's probably already done it or said it. So
Right.
I'll do the old plead the fifth later if it doesn't work out.
Right. It's always an option.
Yes. All right. So, how many have heard of the word? One of the reasons why I love the show, a lot of the stuff that we dig up, there's all kinds of crazy words and crazy. I just love saying some of these words, and I never heard this word until recently. How many have heard the word Ben?
Ben.
Ben. Well, today you're going to hear about Ben.
Okay. I'm not sure if I have. It sounds semi-familiar, but I don't want to commit. Oh.
The Ben, the point of the pyramid. If you remember your more recent lessons, especially in Egypt, a lot of the pyramids were depicted with like either crystalline tops or stone, iron tops or different materials, not just the stone that the pyramids are made out of. So this is actually in the Cairo Museum, and I have a bigger picture of it. There are numerous examples of Ben stones stored in museums around the world. A famous example of a Ben That's like fiddly bits, a ben. Presently kept in the Cairo Museum, belonged to the 12th dynasty pyramid of Amenemhat III. The mysterious Ben. Stone once stood in the solar temple at Heliopolis. The pyramid is made of black iron stone, which is not an ordinary stone because all its components do not exist on the face of the earth. Again, this is quoting this is from like Tartary History Channel. Somebody posted this on there.
Oh, gotcha.
The black iron stone is said to be only found in meteorites. It is very hard iron stone, difficult to shape and dig. Keep that in the back of your head because we're going to talk about stone and shaping stone and that kind of stuff here in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It brings many questions on how it was carved and shaped with precision without laser cutting technology. Let's see, composition, the black iron meteorite. Stone also transmits positive electromagnetic energy in its surrounding, affecting human energy in a very positive way. So I just found this idea of the Ben.
Wow.
Pretty incredible. And especially, even if it's not meteorite, even if it's like an iron ore of some kind, right. I don't think iron is like common in Egypt. And just how, if you look at like the hieroglyphs and the depiction, especially this top part here, I've never seen this depiction together.
Yeah.
It looks like 3 of Jen's spoons. And you got like the typical eyes you would see like with Nefertiti or somebody else, or even the pharaohs, because they wore makeup, obviously. And this symbol you always see on like the top of a staff or something, like when they're marching, or like it's usually in front of a column of people, and it's got these 2 serpents on the side. But this wing here is so intricately carved, and how smooth it looks. And this is just like an amazing piece of art to me, but that this would be sitting on top of a pyramid, and like, what is its real purpose? What is it? What is a Ben? Ben, can you tell us what a Ben is? Come on.
That's really amazing. That museum is really amazing too, by the way. I don't remember seeing that though, but
that's right. You were in Egypt. I forgot.
Yeah, like that museum, I'm going to tell you, that museum has a lot of amazing things, as well as, like the Louvre has a lot of Egyptian things too, but it's nothing like this museum with some of the things. It's breathtaking.
The Cairo Museum keeps the good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even down the furnishings and stuff. Yeah. But this is really amazing, like that it's made from iron. And thinking about the pyramids, what they look like before, all the weathering.
Right.
Yeah, like the outsides, how they must have been so like just vibrant and everything. Like now it's just dull, sand weathered. And
yeah, supposedly they had like a coating over them, like so the pyramids actually looked smooth or flat.
Right,
like you didn't see the stone. And
right. That's more the it's like if you could think of an M&M shell, I guess.
What kind of shell?
An M&M, like take the candy.
An M&M.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something.
I just picture those M&M characters, like just in Egypt.
Right, in Egyptian garb. But I don't know. I'm just, or you know what? How about we borrow something from dentistry? Why not? Because, it all started in Egypt anyway, right? So it's like having a crown on your tooth, and then the crown comes off.
Right.
So it's exposed and the nerve is tender. That's what the Great Pyramids are, like exposed teeth without the crown covering.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to think of it. I can only imagine, and there's so much speculation. Every time I find something out about the pyramids, I learn something new, And then I think about the function again in a different way. Like I think I have a beat on, yeah, I think I have an idea with the Great Pyramid of Giza. I think I have a good, a few theories like based on what other people have said that make
Hmm.
sense. But then I see stuff like this. I'm like, well, I don't know. Does it tie in? Does it tie in with that? Does it help that function? Does it, aid in that whatever function I was thinking of, or does it change my thinking about the function of the pyramids? So I don't know. It's interesting to me that first of all that they made these for the tops of the pyramids,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming that not all of them are like this because it was specific to, I guess, a specific pyramid. So,
Hmm.
but they keep I keep saying they, um, it's been speculated that some of the pyramids, like the bigger pyramids, had quartz, like crystals,
Oh,
as the tops of the pyramids. Um,
okay. Wow.
Others had, some kind of shiny material, some kind of, even speculated that maybe, like an advanced metal, like a alloy, like aluminum kind of thing.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
we will never know probably, but it's interesting that the further along we go and the more that we dig, even with the stuff that's available, new things just keep popping up, and
Yeah,
it's crazy.
it is. I mean, you know what? I would love to just run this by you real quick regarding the pyramid that I was surprised at. I just stumbled upon it. I was looking at, like, the book that I have, Back to Eden, and I wanted to look into the man who wrote it, Jethro Kloss. Of course, he was born in the 1800s, right?
Of course,
So
and his
it's
name's Jethro.
right, Jethro, right? So it's taken me to like the 1800s, and now I have a whole new, like, okay, what's going on? So the family was like Seventh Day Adventists, which I'm not like opposed to, like, their dietary stuff, because they have really good diets and health and everything, and they're really into like natural healing and more natural, like your food is your medicine.
Right.
But check
Yep.
check this out. Okay, so I didn't know that they had one of these great disappointments. Have you ever heard of these great disappointments that uh, they predict that Jesus is coming back, and then everybody like gathers on hills and in meadows, and they're waiting for the return, and it's been depicted in a certain way, and it didn't happen. So there were several great disappointments that happened. Um,
Interesting.
one one was their 1844 great disappointment, and they all gathered hillsides and meadows and everything, really, really excited for the return of Jesus. But guess what I find out? When I looked into it a little deeper, they said that they based their predictions on the pyramids and mathematics from the pyramids.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, wow, I never would have probably come across that. Like, just normally, it was just something about looking into the guy that wrote this book. Then I read about, I didn't know the Seventh day Adventists had a big disappointment, because I know that the Jehovah's Witnesses had one. If you've ever heard of theirs,
Mhm.
they had a few actually predictions. And now I want to know, did they also base their mathematics of their predictions of his return based on pyramid math?
Interesting. Hey, Karen is here. Hey, Karen. Hey, Joseph. How you doing?
Hey, Karen and Joseph, welcome. No, no, you're not late to the party. Not at all. But you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
all this
Yes.
stuff starts to connect, and I'm like, okay, now I'm really curious about, because also Jason Brashears talks about the pyramid mathematics that, I think it's possibly factored into the return of the vapor canopy. Like, he talked about
Yes.
yeah, 2040. So now I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, what's going on with the pyramids? Always come up, and now that you're referring to what they look like before all the weathering, what was the purpose? I know Karen has some thoughts on that. The pyramids, what are they actually?
Yeah, I don't think it's an accident that a lot of the things that are discovered about the pyramids are what they are. Like, I think everybody's kind of in agreement that especially the three main pyramids in Giza are perfectly lined up with the three stars in Orion's belt. And a lot of that ancient architecture they always seem to line up on ley lines, and they would line up with star systems, and they would line up with even in Mexico and in Peru and South America. There was um, a lot of thought that went into the placement of these buildings, these pyramids, and so it wouldn't surprise me that, especially people that were alive, in the time period of the Old Testament, um, Egypt played a big factor in their lives. They were slaves, so it probably doesn't surprise me that some people gain some of this knowledge from working as slaves in Egypt, and and maybe knowing the true purpose and knowing, um, like you said, like passing it on. And now these Seventh Day Adventists, maybe that's how they garnered some of this knowledge. It was passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know, but it's interesting, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's making this whole like process of us uncovering things. It's like it comes back to certain things. It keeps returning back, and there's something there.
But why did they have to name it a Ben Ben?
Yeah.
Something significant like that. We'll just call it a Ben Ben. What do you guys want to call it? Nah, Ben Ben's good. We're good with Ben Ben.
It's a catchy name. You won't
Maybe
forget.
that's how it translated in from Aramaic or from Egyptian to Aramaic to Hebrew to whatever. It just ended up like the equivalent of like John John or Roger Roger, or it's like Ben Ben. So that was one thing that caught my attention. But there was every week something catches my attention. But there was another. Since we talked about it, I'm gonna skip this and I'm gonna go to the idea of, and we've talked about this on this show before, and many other people have talked about this or speculated about this. But in South America and Peru, you have a lot of these megalithic structures, these forts, these fortresses, these high up in the mountains, where it's pretty much, for people that time, would have been impossible to build these structures, where the stones themselves look like they're vitrified, like they were melted in place or formed,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Right.
And so it made me think a little bit. Did these people know how to melt stone, or were they helped? Like, were they given the technology to do it? Because the technology actually is kind of basic, that I kind of found out today or a couple days ago.
Oh, really?
I want to show how powerful the sun is in just everyday life. So and if you're not familiar with solar heating, it's a big deal, and it's one of those things that if you learn how to do it, you could take care of yourself. As long as there's sun out in the wilderness, you can cook food, do whatever. But check this out. Oops, hold on a second. I guess I have to share it. Mr. Technology here.
Está la lumbre.
Sí.
Esa es la tierra. Que hierve el
¿Ya vio
agua.
cómo hierve el agua?
Watch how fast this water boils.
Sí, sí.
Oh,
It's
wow.
literally boiling already.
No se vaya a
Oh
quemar el
my,
teléfono.
that's amazing. Oh boy.
And that's
That,
just with a basic reflector
right.
getting the right angle on the light and focusing on this point on the top here. Because if you notice, he burned the paper immediately. The
Yeah.
water started boiling immediately. Now check this out. This is what blew me away. And I did not know that you could do this. This is also solar heating, focusing the sun's energy on a point.
Watch the power of the January sun through this giant lens melt this rock. Under the intense light, the surface of the rock begins to spall. This lens channels the light to a point which is focused on the rock. After about a minute, the surface of the rock turns to lava and starts to drip down the front of it. As
Oh
I
my
take
God.
the light off, you can see the glowing lava in the sunlight, and then it cools into black obsidian. As I take a closer look, there are fissures in the rock, and the obsidian formation is totally cool.
Oh boy, that's deep. What? It's like the rock is bleeding.
But
Obsidian?
yeah, I think he just used that word because it looks like glass, black
Yeah.
glass, whatever.
Because isn't obsidian like a total gem, a special gem?
It's
stone?
created from volcanic activity.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So wherever
my
there's
goodness.
extreme temperatures and the earth is melted, like around volcanoes, you'll find obsidian.
Oh, gotcha.
But this made me think about those megalithic structures and
yeah.
how if they were able to magnify the sun, whether it was through reflectors or through crystal, through whatever, this is a plausible, if you had a big enough, you could just go around and just melt rock, fuse it together. I mean,
crazy. That's so crazy. But have you ever accidentally caught a reflection of the sun? Like, I'm trying to think of the last time it happened. I had something, and I wasn't meaning to do it, but it wasn't a magnifying glass. It was something else. And I was outside, and the sun happened to catch it, and it really did heat up quickly. Has that ever happened to you where you
oh
accidentally?
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, here's a like kind of a minor example of it. I always drive when I go see my dad in Florida, so I take the trip from Cleveland to the Clearwater area, and if the sun's on my side, it doesn't take very long for my leg to feel like it's burning.
Oh, yeah.
Even through the window with having jeans on or whatever, not even like direct exposure, I guess. It just, you can feel the amount of power that the sun has, even in an indirect kind of way.
Right.
But yes, even as a kid, I used to play with magnifying glasses and all kinds of stuff, because that's what kids do. Especially nerdy kids, we like burning, well, I'm not gonna say ants, but we would take like little those army men you could buy as a kid in bags, those little green army men, the plastic ones.
Until you step on one with bare feet.
Yeah. So we would take those, we would have like a death ray, except we didn't know who Tesla was back then, but it was like a Tesla death ray,
Death ray.
Start melting them, so anyway. I feel like Jim Carrey trying to describe something from a Truman Show.
That's so funny. No, I get it because we definitely played with magnifying glasses to do our, I was the nerd kid. My dad got me chemistry sets and all kinds of stuff.
So you're burning stuff and blowing stuff up.
And then my stepmother gave me her. Why would you give a nerd kit? No, I wasn't like doing things, but she gave me her dissecting kit that it looked like an army dissecting kit. It looked like something a medic would have. It was in like army green, rolled out all of your. I mean, I had scalpels for days. I could have done I could have done surgery as a teen.
Jeez.
Any kind of surgery, like in the garage. You can come on by, get your surgeries. Oh my gosh, look at these. Yeah, this is so mind blowing right here in Peru. This
If you
is so
look at the size
crazy.
of this stone here,
Unbelievable.
without having any modern machinery or any whatever, and look how it's just like seamless, it's
Right,
just, and look, this even has a rounded edge to this piece, and this piece fits perfectly against it.
right.
Um, like everything is just shaped to fit.
Uh-huh.
So to me, if you're going to take on that kind of a project, like you wouldn't even do that now, but if you're going to take on that kind of project, you would only do it if it was easy for you to do.
Good point.
Yes, Joseph, that's where I was going with this. Build by giants.
Yes, Joseph, right?
That's exactly where I was going, because there's a spot in Peru and I can't remember the name of it, but it's like these giant steps that go up the side of this mountain.
Mhm.
And some of the areas there, they used to store food and grain and that kind of stuff, but there were no steps that humans could walk up. Like these steps were made for giants. Like these steps were massive. I don't think I downloaded a picture of it. Tina, the Truth Seeker, how are you, Tina?
Hey, Tina, welcome. Oh,
But it's
wonderful.
on this show, we've well documented that there's enough evidence to show that giants existed.
Right.
And God only knows how many species and where they lived and how big they got and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So again, it goes to that whole, you would do this if it was easy. Like you wouldn't take this on as a primitive culture. That would be like I could just see these guys sitting around the fire eating some whatever they just caught for the day. Hey, what do you guys think about getting some several 100-ton rocks and taking 10 miles up the mountain there and making a fortress? Huh? What do you think? We can go get Jim Bob and Jimmy, and we can go get Tyreek, and we can go get Tyrone Shoelaces and Karima Wheat, and we can just go. Well, what do you say, guys? Well, let's smoke some peyote first, okay? We gotta consult the gods. We gotta talk to the shaman because this sounds like it's a big deal. So I can't believe that those kind of conversations would have happened, and then this was the result. So this, to me, and here's another picture of a beautiful wall. I mean, look at how the seams are filled here between them.
Right. Yeah.
And
Totally amazing.
oh geez.
And like you said, these are on elevations, a mountain range.
Yeah, these aren't
not flat land.
No, that's right. I wanted to show this picture because since we talked about the melting of the rock, this is in that same area. You can see the stones there. But there are some areas where it looks like the stone is actually like melted, sort of like where it's like burned into,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that you couldn't do that with tools or whatever, but I just found it interesting, the connection of the idea that these were formed and like melted into place, and having the same technology and be able to etch things into the stone. And
yeah,
and there's still even the idea that how we make forms and we pour concrete for buildings, like for basements and other things.
Right.
Who's to say that, okay, well, we need a piece like this, so we're going to make a form, we're going to melt the stone and we're going to pour it into a form and do it that way. So wow. I don't know. It's just, I always find that whole thing, this whole area just amazes me. It absolutely amazes me.
And like you were saying, like I can see how these rocks being very soft, like clay, I could see it happening with soft rocks. Just
Yeah, and that's. I don't know that. I don't want to say anything out of context because I don't know what the consistency of these rocks are. I don't know how dense they are or how easily they would melt. But Tina just posted something that we've talked about on the show and that I've said before.
what's that?
We talked that, and it's been presented in a book, and I can't remember the name of the book right offhand. That Jesus' 1,000-year reign took place in Tartaria. I'm just throwing the word Tartaria in there for you, Tina, because this book implied that yes, the 1,000-year reign happened already, and it was all that advanced architecture that we see that's hidden with the mud floods and the cataclysmic events that happened afterwards, and
Right.
and the idea was that Jesus was there. He was the ruler of this massive empire. So yes, I kind of my brain goes to that every once in a while. So
yeah, it makes sense too for me, Tina. I know we've talked about it. I return to it too, John, because other things don't make sense. Like we studied, a lot of us, the whole rapture, the 7 years of tribulation, and surely it looks like we're headed to something crazy like that could happen. But then the other things don't make sense. Like if you've really dug into the study of it, like for me, it's the whole Israel thing. Israel doesn't fit in for me. It just doesn't. It's not a place that, I don't know, I can't place what the current modern day Israel, I can't place it as a location for all these future events. You see what I'm saying?
yes, yep.
Because they don't seem, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Israel, modern day Israel, is not more important than the USA. The USA factors into everything in history, modern day history, not that little country over in the Middle East. I'm sorry. If you see what I'm saying.
Yes. And
Everybody
I did
is not
find
flocking, no one's flocking to Israel. They're not,
yes.
Just going over the borders every day and just, you see what I'm saying? And the
Right.
markets are opening, financial markets opening. And I know it opens in London, but I'm just saying, it's Wall Street, everything. So the USA is more important, it seems, in modern day. So that's why I can't place all of those events we studied about. I can see Magog, Gog, and Magog. Yeah, Russia's rising, or are they rising? Because from what I'm hearing, Russia is pretty. They're not doing too well, like equipment wise and everything. They're not like the Soviet Union that we were all afraid of. Is it just me?
No, not just you. And Tina, I did find one of the things from one of the shows Jennifer and I did about this subject. I'm amazed because I actually labeled this one. That's why I was able to find it. So,
That's great.
it's Tartaria and Jesus Christ by David Ewing Jr. Let's see here. There is a theory that Jesus founded this society during the millennial reign of Christ described in the book of Revelation. They use a series of scriptures along with the Tartarian theory and the widespread conspiracy that the Middle Ages never happened to formulate a 1,000-year empire ruled by Jesus himself. We are currently living in the period after the reign of Christ, but let's see, also described in the book of Revelation. Therefore, Satan himself is trying to keep the truth of Tartaria from us. Let's see if I can find. I think there's another one that I have that's explains it a little bit better too. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't label that one. But anyway, it's out there. I mean, it's in the world. It's Tina says our time is so manipulated that that's just one issue of many to this puzzle. I think Yeah, Gog and Magog, yes, is still to come. That puts us at Revelation 20.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gog and Magog has been coming up a lot lately too. I keep seeing them in like all these like YouTube videos and stuff.
Oh,
Actually, what's their name? The guy that always wears the steampunk hat and his buddy.
Yeah. I haven't seen them in a while. You mean the Midnight Ride?
Yes, yeah. I think they even
Okay.
talked about it in the last couple months about
Oh, okay, good.
Gog and Magog.
Gog. Yeah, yeah. And I know that they believe in what's to come in terms of the seven. I think they believe in more of a 7-year tribulation period coming, like we're headed into those times where now, like, what Tina raises and, what we've talked about in terms of the time manipulation, I can see the history that was World War II and one and everything, and all the wars we've been told happened at different times. I'm believing that it's all been theater of war, and they've had all these things simultaneously going on around different places. You see
Just
what I'm
like
saying?
man in the castle, or Man on the Hill in the Castle, whatever that show's called.
Have you seen that?
The Man in the Tower,
High
Crystal
Castle?
Tower,
Have you seen it?
whatever it's called. I've seen like the first episode of the first season.
Oh, when
And
did
I
you
thought it
think
was a
of-
really, really interesting premise.
Right.
And if you guys haven't seen it, I think Jen's even proposed having a watch party.
Yes, I want to. Please, I want to get more people interested because I really want to watch the whole thing. So you saw the whole first season?
I saw the first episode of the first season because I
gotcha.
wanted to see what it was about.
Right.
And
I
then
got you.
wanted to see what the premise was.
Right.
And if you don't know the premise, if you haven't seen this show, the premise is it's like 1962 and the Allies lost World War II. So the United States is divided into two sections. There's the Western like states of Japan or whatever it's called. And then there's like a neutral zone down sort of like where Colorado would be down the middle of the country. And then the whole rest of the Midwest to the eastern is like the Third Reich, or like the Nazi states of America, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have those two factions. And then you have a group of resistance. And it was so eerie because it reminds me of like kind of what's going on now.
Right.
That you have this resistance that the leaders of this resistance believe because of this excuse me, this newsreel that surfaced that has all these newsreels from the end of the war showing that the United States and the Allies won, like the stuff you would have seen in school.
Right.
So based on seeing that, there's like a group of people that are trying to get this out there. Like this is their way of exposing like the cabal, like the Reich, the Third Reich, Hitler. And Hitler's still alive. He's in Berlin and he's like the leader of the Third Reich, or the Hitler, whatever party it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just an interesting premise.
Right.
Interesting.
Very, very. I want to commit to watching it, and watching it with a different, lens in terms of, we know that they forecast a lot of their plans in the movies. They tell us more about what's real in these movies. That's why I'm very interested, especially that it was produced out of Amazon Studios. I think, definitely Amazon is really plugged in. I mean, look at how much they made during the 2020 lockdown, right? My goodness. Geez. What a wealth transfer, huh? But now now I'm interested in going down this road of looking into these great disappointments. Now you see what I brought up about.
Yes.
Tina and everyone, if you just joined, I was telling John that I wanted to look into the author of the book that I talk about a lot, Back to Eden, Jethro
Mhm.
Kloss. I found out that he was a Seventh Day Adventist, and his family, were in that faith. Uh, so it makes sense that they were into health and wellness because that's what Seventh Day Adventists are known for, besides, going to church on Saturday. But I don't have a lot of problems with Seventh Day Adventists for some reason. I'm not, saying I'm one or anything. I'm just saying I don't have major problems with them. But I found out, everyone, that they had one of those great disappointments in the 1800s, in which it was 1844, they called the Great Disappointment, where they were predicting Jesus's return on October 22nd, 1844. They gathered on hillsides, meeting places, and meadows, and
Mhm.
they were expecting the return of Jesus.
Mhm.
So this is something that now I'm wondering about, everything that, the 1800s, and how we were told that, that could be where we had these resets, or the flood of Noah,
Mhm.
that all this ancient history didn't happen as far back as we thought. I'm now like, whoa, what? And then I hear that the Great Disappointment, they were gauging the mathematics based on the pyramid math. So
Mhm.
then you have that factoring in.
Well, Tesla always said if you understood 3, 6, and 9, you understood the universe, and that's what a lot of pyramids and other uh, places on the face of the earth, they line up with something factoring with either pi or 3, 6, and 9, and it's funny how it always boils down to those two things.
Right.
Excuse me. Speaking of mud flood slash Tartaria, I'm going to skip back a couple slides here, and you know how I am about the mud floods.
Right.
um, there's this place in, hold on, it's called Omsk, Russia. It's a museum, and if you look,
Oh, wow. Is
this
this
is the
in
ground.
Russia?
Yeah, this is ground level right here.
Oh, wow.
You notice the windows and doors underneath the ground level after they did some excavating.
Totally amazing.
So this building is old. I don't know exactly how old, but I can't even imagine how old what's underneath it, And
Right.
this always amazes me when I see doors. Clearly, they're doors and windows under the ground level, which
Right.
tells me it was buried. And
Hmm.
I don't know. That still amazes me when I see stuff like that.
Yeah, because there's no good explanation.
Yeah, this is this
Crazy.
District of Visual Arts Museum, blah blah blah. I don't. I just it is what it is. But I love this picture. I just
Yeah.
absolutely love.
Wow.
It's like it's right in plain sight.
Yeah. That's
mean,
why I like this study, because with everything that's floating out there, this is the one that's pinned down to earth,
Yeah, Karen says, yeah, he did 369. Once you tap into that, you start seeing things totally differently.
Wow.
Yeah, Tesla was the man when it came to that kind of stuff. But there's some interesting things that I came across this week, and we've talked about this before, but I want to post another. This is another picture that we haven't shown on here. This mosaic is buried in Italy, near the town of Negrar, however you pronounce it. But Look at that tile. Look how far down it's buried.
Crazy.
Um,
Yeah.
And it's beautiful and crazy at the same time. I mean,
I
that is
love
just
it.
crazy.
It's unreal. It's like, are you serious? This is what they had on the floors.
That's I mean, it's just beautiful that it's that well preserved too. And
Right.
you look at all the different layers of dirt and rock, and I don't know. That blows my mind every time I see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's amazing. Wow.
Tina says, what does Tina say? That's the thought that Satan was loosed around 1776, and the Statue of Liberty, built in 1800s, is actually a depiction of Satan with the chains off his feet, and that's supposed to
Whoa.
be when it started. That's weird that you should bring up Statue of Liberty, because I literally looked at a picture from when it was built and then disassembled into 356 parts when it was still in France.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
saw it today. So it's weird that you should say that. That's
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that Statue of Liberty is not what we were told it was.
no, I'm seeing if I can find that picture.
Yeah, yeah. You know what, you guys, when I went up to work for the pandemic, I went up to New York. I stayed in one of those hotels that, it's like the corporate stuff where you have your kitchen and everything, it's all decorated up. Well, right in the kitchen, they had a picture of the Statue of Liberty, and guess what? It was engulfed in flames, it looked like. And I would look at that picture a lot, and I was like, this is kind of disturbing. I took a picture of it. I have to find it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for me to go up there during that time, and then that picture was in the kitchen of the Statue of Liberty in flames.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I just found it a little off-putting.
I found the picture. This is the exact picture I saw today.
Oh, while it's still in France. How creepy
This is the actual Statue of Liberty that ends up in New York. This is where they built it in France.
That's so creepy. Look at it. And it's copper. Like,
yeah,
it's all like patina now. Sorry, Tina. Patina.
Yeah, this is amazing because they ended up, once they've completed it, they took it apart into 300 and some pieces to be able to ship it over to New York. This is a huge deal to me because even as a kid, I had a hard time understanding what was it that the French loved so much about the United States. Why were they so much goody two-shoe partners? Why would you build something this extravagant for a country that you aren't part of? Like, this is a monument, like a massive monument built for another country.
Yeah, good question. And it never rang true to me when we heard the narrative in school. Oh, France gave us a gift. And
right.
Okay, so this gift is put in the port of the most important city in the world, and it stands as the most iconic piece of architecture in New York, to be honest. It is the most, like, probably
in the United States, period.
Yeah, this is it, right? This statue. And I think that we should do a little more research into it, because the French, from what I'm understanding, when you say French and you say Nazi, basically the same people. Like, I'm starting to really understand more and more about who are these Nazis. And what I'm hearing is that a lot of France these are where these groups have been birthed. So we think Germany only, but it's not. The Nazis come in all stripes, but I hear France is a real stronghold for Nazism.
Well, think about, even to me as a kid, I always recognized the tension between Americans and French. Like, even in the movies, they would always make fun of it. Like, they hated Americans. Like if
Right.
you were an American in France, they wouldn't speak English even if they knew how to, because they wanted you to not either A, understand them, or made you speak French. Like they
Yeah.
always stuck their nose up. It's like, where did all this disconnect happen if that's the case, you know? And why? Again, I'd have to touch up, as you stated, and kind of look at this a little deeper, because I still don't get. I mean, that's such a big gift from a country to
It
another
is.
country.
It is. It's a
And
big
it's
gift.
like to say, well, let's just give them the Eiffel Tower while we're at it.
Yeah,
You know,
why not? It makes no sense. This and they have another one over in Paris, by the way. This isn't the only one. They have like more of these statues around. That's also
yes,
really weird. And other Liberty Bells too. Didn't they give us the Liberty Bells also? The French?
possibly. I don't
Yeah, I'm
remember.
kind of like, yeah, and like you said, they look down their nose at us. We don't have what is our real connection? I would think that Canada has more of a connection to France, being that they have a whole segment of Canada that's called French Canada. So
Right.
why didn't they give the Statue of Liberty to
And the
like
national language is French. I mean,
yeah, why didn't they send it to Montreal or I'm
maybe
just
we helped them
asking.
out in a war or something, like the French. Well, didn't we have like the French American War, or the crap? I'll have to look it
Yeah,
up now.
you're right. There were so many wars, and yeah, I think there was a French American War, and they had some of the territory here in the United States, like they had the Louisiana
Louisiana. Yep.
Purchase. It's something really weird. And remember Lafayette, who came over, whatever that man was, and he said something about the United States will only remain great if they remain good. Remember that guy,
Yes.
Lafayette?
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
was
Karen.
his name Lafayette?
See, now I'm forgetting the history we did learn in schools.
Right.
It's
Their
funny how that
narratives.
happens. It's like
Yeah.
trying to remember the spelling of a word that you normally know, and it's simple, but when you look at it, it doesn't look right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Karen says, but also old pictures show that when they first gave the Statue of Liberty, it was not on a fort.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, definitely have to dig into this a little bit more, because there's something to this that's
It
just
is something to it. I agree. These are things that are interesting to circle back to, but New York holds a lot of answers to a lot of that earlier history, with things like this, especially. Something is off about it now.
a little the spidey senses tingling.
Definitely. Definitely.
And speaking of spidey sense, almost every week it seems like I come across another culture I didn't know about.
Oh.
This week was no exception.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
And maybe you guys have heard of this. I have not. And if I have, I don't remember ever, it never stuck. But the Empire of Rama. And I believe this is in India. No other civilization in the world has captivated so much the imagination that the civilization of the Indus Valley, in which some authors have seen the mythical empire of Rama. The civilization of the Indus Valley has its roots 8,000 years ago at Murgar. The Harappan culture, I guess that's how you pronounce it, had largely exceeded the borders of what is now Pakistan. It was center in Sindh and Punjab. Excuse me. In contrast to other civilizations, burials found from these cities are not magnificent. They are more simplistic and contain few material goods. This evidence suggests that the civilization did not have social classes, which modern India does have, or caste system, whatever you want to call it. It is likely that the Harappans were a peaceful civilization. It is said that strong radiation emanating from fossil corpses forced the Indian government to close the site. that's kind of raises a red flag for me whenever they always make up something, whether it's radiation or something dangerous to keep you away from it.
Right.
Would have Rama's empire been destroyed by something else? So to me, if there's radiation, and it wasn't Godzilla, I'm just putting that out there. So if there was a lot of radiation at a site, especially in the corpses, and it was not Godzilla, then it had to me, it had to have been, because they, even in the Vedic texts, they talk about these great aerial battles, and they almost describe like nuclear battles, like nuclear weapons.
Right.
And so when they say radiation, that kind of stuff, that automatically makes me think, because this is in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm just going to throw up a few pictures that I found again on the Tartaria History Channel about Rama. I have no idea what this is supposed to depict. Looks like a one-boobed woman. Seriously, like there's like a left boob and then like a teeny little mini boob over here.
Right.
But anyway,
it looks like she has a cast on her arm too.
Yeah, this is like the ring neck people that make their necks longer so the neighboring tribes don't think the women are attractive, so they don't come steal them.
Oh,
I guess these are the long-armed people from India.
Interesting. Wow.
Maybe that's where the long arm of the law came from. Oh, that was bad. I was sorry, guys. Karen might like that one, but
he's doing another show at 9.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Please tip your servers.
Yeah, radiation got her. That's right, Tina. The radiation. She's a mutant. Do you remember Total Recall?
Oh yeah, right.
The original one with our least favorite liberal actor, Arnold. Like one of the premises of that was that because of the radiation leaks and stuff through the dome or whatever, and these on different parts of Mars, that a generation of mutants actually arose from it. People that had special abilities, or they had like weird appendages, or 3 boobs in the case of this movie. And there's the whole scene with Quado, if you ever remember the Quado and Quaid. You know, Quado was like a prophet. He could see like the future, and he lived on the stomach of this one dude. Do you remember that?
I'm not. I'm gonna have to watch that again because
I want to see if I can find a picture.
It.
Hold on, I'm going to find a picture for Jen because this will jar her memory. I guarantee. Quatto. Quado. There we go. There's plenty of pictures of Quado.
Oh my, yes. Oh,
you remember this dude?
Yes. How weird.
Yeah, that's Quado.
God, that's so weird. Oh,
Quado.
Oh my goodness. I think I probably had to. Yeah, I probably didn't watch this movie after all. Oh my God.
But he was obviously one of the mutants, and he was never like he was like the leader of the resistance, and they had a hard time finding him because he literally lived like he just closed up his shirt, they didn't know this prophet was on this guy's body.
Oh my God, this is crazy. What?
So Tina, yes, that could be. She could be some kind of Quado or something. Who knows?
And isn't it interesting that you talk about nuclear stuff? Pakistan is always like being, the fear mongering that the other communities have about Pakistan becoming, well, they are nuclear, right?
Yes. I believe
so. There's a problem. There's some kind of problem that people didn't want them to have nukes. Why?
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things. Why can't we have nukes?
I mean, just with the whole aspect of India and Pakistan, they really are the same people. That was all created, this division between the two.
and this picture comes up when you search for Rama too, and a lot of Indian culture, you always see these blue-skinned beings, like deities, and because they're not like, and even this is what I find weird in a lot of depictions, even in Indian depictions, the women are much fairer skinned than they are in real life.
Right.
If you notice, like these women are very fair skinned.
Yeah,
And
but they do have fair skinned women like that in India.
yes, they do.
Mhm.
But it's just weird that it seems like everything that I see only
Yeah.
depicts the fair
Right.
skin or the
Yeah.
blue skin,
The blue,
for that
yeah, as
matter.
opposed, yeah, that's something in their like their culture. They elevate the fair skin, so they even bleach their skin. So it's something about the culture.
And we've talked about these hat things, like these temple looking things on their heads.
Oh yeah.
And then they've got these almost looks like the hair dryer thing, like you're getting your curlers done or whatever. And there's a lot of depictions in the Vedic texts and a lot of ancient, Indian paintings of floating cities and flying
Wow.
vehicles that represent like a transportation of the gods kind of thing. And you can see
Right.
here there's like a little, almost looks like a gazebo thing on top of this whale looking thing
That's amazing.
flying through the air, and you can see one in the distance there. But so like
Right.
it was a common theme that
Wow.
this air travel in these vimanas, matter of fact, they call it Rama Airlines here.
Rama
There you go,
Airlines.
people. Get it copyrighted before somebody else does. Rama Airlines. The tribe of the Smurfs. There you go. Maybe that's where they got the Smurf idea from. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. You never know. I mean, they were, yeah. I think they did say that with the blue, especially the blue color and everything.
Rama Airlines could be the name given to a powerful fleet of the past, the fleet of a rich prehistoric empire ruling over northern India known as Rama's Empire. And this is kind of how like the Vimanas are depicted and described with propellers and stuff like that before flight was even thought of, as with propellers and that kind of thing.
That's
And,
so
and again, they have this shape of those hats they were wearing. It's like there's something to that shape in their culture.
Yeah. Remember Devo? They wore hats like
Yes, they wore those plant buckets on their heads, or the
that. Yeah.
potting plants, or whatever they wore on their heads.
Right. Yeah. Looked like
They whipped
like
it
that.
good. You have to play that on your show.
Devo. I know. Got to.
Whip it. That was such a good song when I was a kid, 82 or 81, whenever that song came out.
Exactly. So much fun. That was fun.
It was a fun song.
Yeah, and the bands were fun. I mean, Devo.
Yes.
Anytime they were on, I was so like, wow, they're so weird, and I loved it.
Yes, Karen. In the Vedic texts, they talk about the Great Wars. The weapons had nuclear powers. They call them spiritual wars in the heavens. And that's where, like, in the Middle East around the same time, you had the whole concept of flying carpets came about, and aerial travel and aerial battles with flying carpets. The Prince of Persia, the principality, that they in the Bible that not Gabriel, but Michael was fighting against.
Oh my goodness, you guys are making connections. You're making connections. Everything we've been talking about today, I'm getting a little bit psyched. Sorry. Okay.
I can see the pencil. I can see the pencil flying across the paper now.
Oh my gosh! Like it's starting to make sense on just a little level right now. These connections. Okay, we're talking about these Vimanas, these vehicles. Now, Karen's saying the weaponry is nuclear. You're saying it. War in the heavens. And so war, and it factors into this stuff already having happened already.
Falling angels.
We're in a different place. And what if that whole area over there is where they have portals, like maybe like that's where the angels kind of come in and out, maybe? And because they have like what is it called? More gods. Like they're polytheists, is what I'm saying. So they have
Yes,
lots
right.
of gods. So these would be like maybe angelic hosts, all of these different gods, maybe. And if they were having these wars, and then, again, Pakistan being nuclear is such a threat to the nuclear community. So it's like, why? Now I'm
Yeah.
really starting to think that. And then another thing, India is where the Nazis are obsessed with the Vedic texts and everything. That's like Hitler had all of this, like he and the Nazis, they
Yes.
wanted to know all about, they what is it called? Reverse engineered
Die
this stuff.
Glocke was the main one. Like they had
Mhm.
Die Glocke was kind of the shape of a Vimana, and
Yeah.
they had like a little area where they had tethered it to because it supposedly was anti-gravitational kind of thing, and
Right.
time travel. They also talked about time
Oh my
travel as far
God.
as
Yes. Do you all see it now? Are you
because
seeing what I'm
Die
seeing?
Glocke in German literally means the bell.
Okay. Are you seeing what I'm seeing right now? The Nazi connection to all of this, because they use the swastika too. You know,
Yes.
that's
Mhm.
initially a Hindu, like that's an Indian symbol.
Mhm.
So why would the Nazis have taken that symbol to be their logo,
A
basically?
symbol of peace.
Yeah, and then you have this reverse engineering of flying vehicles, anti-gravity, and now we're talking nuclear, and then the Nazi connection. Okay, everyone, you have helped me figure something out tonight. I am really tripping right now. I wish you could see me, but I don't want you.
We wish we could see you too, Jen.
I wish I could see you, see me. I'm tripping. Okay.
We
Look,
love it. We
Karen
love it
said
when
the
you.
Veda wars are the wars of the gods. Okay,
Yes. Yep.
Tina, are you here? Where's
She's
Joseph?
still here.
Casey, is it John? I'm tripping. We just cracked something right now. Do you feel it, Casey?
Yes.
Am I tripping?
No, you're not. This is what's fun about this. I try to pick things that I know are going to crack your egg, so to speak.
This is an omelet right now. Everything okay,
Some
you all have
vein
just
breaking
put,
or brain baking.
this is really, really wild right now. I am now seeing something on a whole different, like, it's like when you're putting a puzzle together, you all just helped me with the edge, like that. I was working on a corner, I didn't have those pieces, and I knew. Oh
Yes.
my God, the blue skin really depicts the energy, the power that they had. The skin gave off that radiance, like, this is it, everyone. You
Yes.
have
Every
cracked.
culture around that time had some kind of a depiction of radiant energy on their gods or the heavenly beings. If you look at even ancient depictions of Mary and Jesus and Joseph and even Noah, Moses, the apostles, anybody that had a large role in God's plan, they were always depicted with like a halo or an energy around them, surrounding them. There's a lot of depictions of Moses and just so many people depicted with these energy auras around them. For a lack of a better term, I think the best way they could represent it was with a halo, a glow around their head or body or whatever. But like India with the blue skin representing energy, or kind of like a chakra kind of energy, an inner energy, a heavenly energy. And if I'm not mistaken, even in the Chinese culture, I want to say some of the ancients, some of the dragons even were depicted with like an energy glow, and even some of like the what we call the Middle Ages. A lot of the depictions of people in the Middle Ages. There's that one famous one where it looks like there's a halo around this person, and I can't remember which person it is, and they're pointing, they're like in the back in the sky, you can clearly see a flying object. They make it look like it's like an arrow shaped with like flames coming out the back, and you can clearly see it in the depicted in the picture. So yeah, there was some stuff going down in downtown, that area of the world around this time.
Yeah.
And,
For sure. Whoa.
Karen says, I learned a little Madrasi. I went to Hindu church for 8 years. The name Sri Durga, Barrio Mandir in Guyana.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Madras is a very well-known area in India, and so is Tamil Nadu. I had friends that lived in Tamil Nadu and worked at the Madras Crocodile Bank when I was breeding reptiles and stuff. I would communicate with them the old-fashioned way back then, because you had to write letters and like airmail or post, where like something out of a movie, you'd see all these stamps on it and all these, just for a letter to get to India. And
right. Wow.
Let's see. She also says some believe that Krishna's heart is locked away because his heart's still radiant light.
Oh, wow. Really? Oh, boy.
Yes, Tina, that's true. Things are going on in the second heaven. That's Satan's territory. If you think about not just in the Bible, but even like in the book of Enoch and which is in the Ethiopian Bible, and other texts do mention that there's 3 heavens or 3 layers to heaven. The upper heaven, or the highest heaven, that's where the throne of God is. Right. And then you have the middle heaven, which Tina states is Satan has rule over that. And then you have the lower, or the bottom heaven, however it's depicted, which I'm guessing is our, heaven, our, immediate upper, whatever you want to call it. I can't even think of the words right now, but yes, that whole idea of that, the tiered heavens, lower, because you even have the description of there being water above the heaven of the lower heavens, or whatever, oceans or water, or whatever, however it's depicted.
Yeah, and like you've shown the star in the jar.
Yes.
Yeah, and you think about the heavens above, the firmament, the waters above.
And look what causes those stars. It was sound vibration.
Yeah, there you are.
If you have the right frequency, you can create those in water.
Yeah. We have yet to explore sound. I mean, that's going to be the last great frontier for us, because once we learn about sound and we begin to create instrumentation or something, or architecture, have a renaissance of acoustics in our everyday life, literally, I don't think evil could even coexist if we had these things in operation. Do you see? Like, that would collapse everything. Like, I don't think they could jam the frequencies, because that's what their media depends on. Imagine if we could jam them frequency wise.
Yes. Well, look at all the, we've had it on this show before. Look at all during some of these conflicts, like World War II and earlier, they would always go in and remove these bells from these churches and from these buildings. And they had like a massive graveyard of all these bells. What were they afraid of? Like, were they afraid of the healing power of these bells?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find a picture.
My gosh, this is, you all are like, oh my gosh, you all are putting the whole puzzle together tonight. What? You're not going to pace yourselves? You're doing it all tonight. What are we going to do tomorrow? You're leaving nothing on the plate. John, not even a crumb? Okay.
Oh, you've got plenty.
I didn't know we were doing this, family. We're just going to just figure it all out. We're just going to sleep in tomorrow. Tell me what's the plan? This is
If somebody asked you what the meaning of life is, just say, watch this show.
Here's the link. Here you go. You don't even have to talk anymore. Just here's the link. Here it is, right here.
But it happens throughout history. They have bell-shaped like monasteries and places of worship and dwellings. It's like this shape has a certain characteristic that must amplify something, whether it's healing, knowledge, whatever it is. But these cabal players, these deep staters, always seem to know to go after the bells whenever they think they need an advantage over people, and they need to put them in a fearful state and put them in a non-healing kind of state, where it's harder to heal themselves.
Right. Wow, everybody. Oh my gosh, wait a minute, John. Hold it. Don't say another word until I get my notes. I need my notes. You guys.
I can only imagine what Jennifer's garage looks like. I can only imagine that it's like literally stacked from floor to ceiling with notebooks.
It is. How did you?
Which is cool.
No,
that's a cool image.
Yeah, I look like a crazy alchemist, everybody. I've got all this chemistry glass. It's like, oh no, we knew it. We knew she was an alchemist. She's practicing that witchcraft. No, I don't practice alchemy anymore. I don't do it anymore. I told you guys I put all that stuff away.
Alchemy, I love it.
I don't dabble.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the next thing for tonight?
Oh boy. Put your
I want you to be able to take whatever notes you want to take, and because I don't want to get ahead and then
Mm-hmm.
So you ready?
Yeah, I think.
Remember, and we've showed this before with some of the mud flood / Tartarian architecture buildings, the fireplaces and having those metal adornments on the floor, with speculation that they didn't burn wood.
Right.
That they were an alternate kind of energy or heating kind of design, and they would always have like a large size to them, like they were big fireplaces. So anyway, I ran across something else that I didn't realize was a thing until recently. But have any of you heard of radium? Like radium, radium?
Yes, radium. Yes. I don't know a lot about it, but they have radium springs and all these things. And I've always wondered, what is that about, radium?
So it's just a quick little video. It's like a minute long, but it talks about radium, and it specifically talks about those fireplaces that we were talking about. And I have never heard this before, and this totally makes sense. So we'll brain bake you a little bit more here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
The secrets of old world fireplaces and so much more is radium. A chemical that's gotten a bad rap just like mercury. But in our hidden history in the old world, it was used in so many applications, from illumination, heating, and medicine. We even ingested it and used it as hand creams. The uses and benefits were endless. And once the elites came in with their petroleum-based medicines, their addictive medicines, radium just could be a profitable source. Just like treatments and medicines that were used for thousands of years, outlawed and labeled New Age.
Oh my. Okay. All
This
right,
is the
everybody.
things I was talking about here.
You're not.
Because remember how we always wondered why these fireplaces really didn't look like they were made for burning things? because it
Exactly.
didn't look like they had flues and that kind of stuff. And then they
Right.
always seem to have these metal antenna
Yeah.
looking things, bulbous looking things down here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys are not pumping the brakes tonight. This is crazy. All right. We got to get, okay. Can somebody do the job? Can we just get Joe Biden out? Can we do this? Can we just get on with the party, the real party? I'm just saying we got to get, we need that. This will collapse everything between sound and this, the energy. If we just open source this stuff, nobody can be greedy and want to get a patent. We need this just out open for everybody to just have. I'm so done. I'm so done right now that we're dealing with these clowns for no reason.
I love it.
We don't need
And
to.
it is clowns. Believe me, it is clowns. Karen,
Oh my
I'm gonna have to do a little more research, but I think you are correct that it is radium, which is like an element of Ra, and the number 8. I do believe
Oh,
that is associated with this, or 88.
really?
Yeah,
Oh
88.
my.
There you
88? Oh my gosh.
go. Casey, it's what's driving them nuts. We have no fear. They can't handle our frequencies. It triggers them because become screaming memes. Yeah, you're going to see a couple of those here shortly.
Exactly.
I also
Casey.
found this really interesting. I'll dial it back a little bit here. I'll dial it back
Oh
just
my
a little
gosh. I'm like ready to
bit.
crawl into a corner. Like I'm like I need to process. Whoa.
I'm going to go to some of the old standbys, but with pictures I haven't shown before. Because we always talk about giants. We always talk about them. It's like a staple of the show.
Oh.
So
Oh boy.
I just wanted to show a few more pictures since we were talking about like molten rock and that kind of stuff. I always find these pictures of these giant footprints.
Wow. That's funny to see her foot.
Interesting.
Wow. It's like
And this one's one of my favorites here.
oh
This
my gosh. It's like Dr. Scholl's ad, right?
right. Because this one to me looks a little more legit. Like the other ones, maybe they could have been carved or whatever. I don't know, but because they sort of look
like too
odd
perfect.
enough to be real, but almost too perfect to be real, I guess. But
Yeah.
so when I
not
see
as
stuff like
slender.
this, I have
Yeah.
a tendency to believe this a little more
I get you.
because it's a partial,
Right. Yep. I got it.
Bigfoot. That's right, Bigfoot.
Without a doubt.
Which topic is an awesome topic? The giants or the one before? We're going to talk about some plant communication as well. Speaking of frequencies, since we're already talking about frequencies, this is one of those synchronicity shows where we're all on the same page here. We're all on the same page.
Wow.
I didn't know this either, but I speculated ever since I saw the movie Avatar. Did you ever see the movie Avatar?
Yes, I want to watch that again, actually.
Do you remember the concept of all of the plant life on the planet? That it was like a vast network of communication. And
Right.
Well, according to this, mushrooms communicate with each other using up to 50 words, scientist claims. Mathematical analysis of the electrical signals fungi seemingly send to one another has identified patterns that bear a striking structural similarity to human speech.
Oh my.
It has even shown that the firing rate of these impulses increases when the hyphae of wood digesting fungi come into contact with wooden blocks, raising the possibility that fungi use this electrical language to share the information about food or injury with distant parts of themselves. or with hyphae connected partners such as trees. The most likely reasons for these waves of electrical activity are to maintain the fungi's integrity, analogous to wolves howling to maintain the integrity of the pack, or to report newly discovered sources of attractants and repellents to other parts of their mycelia. So I just think this whole concept, and I think innately, I think most humans feel this, like there is like some kind of connection that the plants and the earth, and like it's a one living giant system that's interconnected, and we all communicate in some way with each other. I think about like when you've walked through the grass or through the woods or barefoot, like you have a whole different feeling and connection when you're not wearing socks or shoes.
Yes.
And I really, and who else is, I'm going to nerd out right here for a minute, but who else felt this when they watched Avatar, even though it's a movie, that it felt so familiar.
Yes.
Like there was such a familiarity about that world.
Yes.
And the concepts of the communication and the clans and everything else. There was something just so ethereal and just something familiar about that movie. And so I don't know if anybody else felt that, but
no, I did. And now I want to go back and watch it again. I think this would be a good one to watch. This whole thing about the mushrooms, though, I'm telling you, they've put fear in us about mushrooms and the connection to health. A lot of people drink mushroom teas and things like that, and we're learning that a lot of these mushrooms can cure cancer. Yeah, I'm sorry, I said it. Susan Wojcicki. allegedly cure cancers. But
don't worry about it. Say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I mean the fungus is among us, and this would be another area of exploration. I mean, look at this. You went from sound frequencies, and then radium, and then you throw the mushrooms in. I mean, we're collapsing the entire system with this. Just those three things alone. Just that's it. It's a wrap. Curtains, all the colors.
Even Karen, look what Karen's saying. It's like she's about to go off the radar.
What?
Let's see.
What does she say?
She says, just not a coincidence. This is tonight discussion when I'm about to drop off radar for a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
And why I have to drop off the radar for a couple of days. Just tonight's build on everything and how it connects surely is a guide for me for what, when, and how I'm about to do.
Oh.
And the whole build tonight, John, is awesome because everything connects, and it's just a sign and confirmation for me.
Oh,
so Karen, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh, we are all like this tonight. Whatever happened, listen, this is blowing my mind. The very power of, just like I said, these three things alone. It's over. It's over for the cabal. Like, their system is over. This is all we need, everyone. We don't need to do all this stuff. This is, I'm just saying this.
And I'm going to ask, this is a serious question too. How many people have actually hugged a tree while they were barefoot?
Oh,
I mean, hugged a tree, like put your face on it, put your arms around it, and squeezed it.
Yes, because Joseph and Karen told me to do that last year, and I did.
Hey, IG.
Oh my gosh. Hey, IG, what's up? Welcome.
You're going to have to watch the rest of the video because it's...
Oh, you missed... I'm so sorry.
Ask Karen because it's been lit tonight.
It has been so lit. IG, please go back and watch this one. Oh my God, this one has got the heat. Something is... Oh my gosh.
Well, this is touching on what you said earlier about this whole synchronicity and and God revealing things in ways if you're open to see them. And I really, especially over the last few months, I really feel like he's put it on my heart to talk about things like this. Like these are important things to understand and to see and to bear witness to, I guess. Like to there's God put us here for this time for a reason. We all are here to bear witness to this magnificent awakening that's happening and this magnificent revelation period. I mean, and revelation just it means, uncovering and revealing things that have been hidden, and or revealing truths that have always been there that have been hidden or kept from us. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that's what everybody feels tonight. So
Oh, wow.
I'm just a couple more things. Just a couple more. I'll save the oil one for last before the memes. Has anybody heard of Indian pipe?
No.
Speaking of, since we're talking about woods and forests and that kind of stuff,
Oh,
what is
wow.
Indian pipe? This fascinating plant is definitely one of nature's weird wonders because it has no chlorophyll and doesn't depend on photosynthesis. This ghostly white plant is able to grow in the darkest of forests. Ghost pipe appears above ground for just 1 week, while ghost pipe grows wild in most of the United States and Asia. Sightings are rare, and each plant blooms for just 1 week annually. The entire plant is a translucent, ghostly white, sometimes pale pinkish white, and commonly has black flecks. So the mycotroph plant gets all or part of its carbon, water, or nutrient supply through symbiotic association with the fungi.
Oh.
And this is why I put this in here, because we were just talking about the fungi and its symbiotic relationship with its surroundings and other fungi. But apparently this plant has a symbiotic association with fungi.
Wow.
So it doesn't need the photosynthesis. And these are beautiful. They're actually beautiful.
Oh, they are really beautiful, unique. I mean, the plant world alone, didn't you all enjoy biology when you were in school? That was my favorite subject, biology, and all of this stuff. I love it. Look at the moss, and this is gorgeous.
Look
It
at the
looks like
flowers on them.
flesh.
I mean,
doesn't it look like flesh?
it almost looks like something from the deep ocean, something.
Yeah, exactly. It does look like it's floating in the ocean.
But until recently, I never would have, for whatever reason, never would have known about these.
Oh, yeah. Like, how would you know? This is amazing.
And
Wait
that
a
it's
minute.
possible to do, to keep life going without the sun. And
Exactly. To be
So
called
this
a
is-
plant.
correct. Yes. I mean, this is.
Did anybody see that movie Crazy Rich Asians, where they gave the grandmom a flower that only blooms like one time a year or something? Like, it reminded me of that. Oh, let's see. I started hugging. Oh, eucalyptus tree, barefooted, kissed it, told it, oh, that's so sweet. I love it.
Got a pleasant smell while you're hugging it too.
That's nice to have a eucalyptus tree. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Joseph and Karen told me to go out and hug trees last year, and it did something for me instantly. Like, it just made me feel like, you just release all of this, like trying to be whatever, you just go back to the heart of a child, just innocent.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you can get to heaven. I mean, God wants you to be childlike in nature, which means inquisitive and happy-go-lucky, and everything is possible.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine how strong and and how powerful your faith would be if you had a childlike nature and that you believed everything was possible. Can you
Oh,
imagine how you could heal yourself or heal others,
exactly.
not have worries? It there's a reason why God wants you to be childlike,
Yeah. Yeah.
because He knows that's what works. That's
That's
what
right.
works. The
Yep.
childlike nature is literally stripped from you from the time the boob tube comes on and you get in school and get into
Mhm.
the system. That
Right.
childlike nature is like it's like almost deterred, like
Yeah.
you're which is sad, but
It is.
you know,
It is. And, the healing of that, like bringing back, they were talking about that in the 80s about healing your inner child. They were always talking about the healing. And
mhm,
and then, you're talking about mushrooms. That's also a healing thing. I mean, it
yes,
has all these properties, but the psilocybin they claim can heal trauma in
deep
humans.
trauma.
Deep trauma, like heal it. We're talking cure, like you don't have to keep revisiting trauma.
Mhm.
Imagine if we just cure this trauma that everybody is under. You all have really you've decoded everything. This is it. You could sleep in tomorrow, order some pancakes. This is it tonight.
I
This
love
is
it.
it.
IG Karen, you puff to them.
I love it.
Somebody might have to go to the back of the classroom because
Do an
smoke's
inspection.
getting thick up by the chalkboard here. Karen, you might have to dial it down a little bit. Either that or pass it around.
That is so funny.
The last brain baking thing I want to talk about before the memes roll out. There's this concept that's been pushed by the deep state, by the cabal for forever. When it's something that's abundant and replenishable, they either demonize it or they try to make it seem like it's a scarce resource so they can charge for it.
Mm-hmm.
And in this example, it's oil, specifically oil. We've been taught that oil, and this is their term, fossil fuel. We've been taught that oil is a fossil fuel. So once they tagged it as a fossil fuel, it made it sound like there was a limited supply of it, and that it can't be created again. Well,
Right.
I'm here to show you. I'm not going to play the entire video, but it's worth the watch. I can give you a link to it. It's like 6 minutes long, but I'm going to play the first part of it because this dude will blow your mind. I may play the last part because what he says really is important. The first part's kind of slow, but it kind of sets the stage for this. So I'll play a little bit of the first, and then I'll play the end of it because it really does. Jen, it'll blow your mind.
Uh-oh.
When they first found petroleum, Rockefeller happened to be the smartest man in the business at the time. So in order to get the price up, they hit on the idea that they would have to make it appear to be scarce. In 1892, there was a convention in Geneva of science.
Their conventions are always in Geneva. There's some evil connected to Geneva.
Yeah, I agree.
To determine what organic substances are. So at this Geneva Convention, Rockefeller took advantage of sending some scientists over who said, oil, petroleum, is hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. Therefore, it must be derived from the spoiling, the rotting of formerly living matter. And playing the game properly, when this scientific convention was over, they defined oil as the residue from formerly living matter.
That's important to understand. That's the concept I wanted you to understand, is that they want you to think that because it has hydrocarbons and the other things essential or that you would find in organic life, they want you to think that it only comes from decaying material, like decaying plant life, or whatever the case is. So now I want to go a little closer to the end. This gentleman here is brilliant, and listen very carefully to what he says.
Existence of oil.
Well, according to our, I would say, controversial point of view, hydrocarbons is the product of our planet. They are generating on the depths of roughly 100 to 200 kilometers, then migrates into the Earth's crust and form oil and gas deposits. So we could say that this is a blood of our planet. How did we prove this concept? We make experiments. We have a very developed high pressure equipment at my mother university, Gubkin State, Russian University of Oil and Gas. I try to explain it very simple. This is a surface of the Earth. This is a depth of roughly 100 kilometers. This is a crust of the Earth. Below 100 kilometers, there are donors of carbon and hydrogen. We add in this mixture ferrum oxide and put this mixture in the capsule, pressurize it, and rise the temperature. Then in the end, we have a mixture of hydrocarbons in distribution of at least natural gas, methane, ethane, propane, and butane. The mixture of these hydrocarbons from this depth to the crust could be moved via deep channels to oil or natural gas deposit. There are no doubts that hydrocarbons, and natural gas particularly, could be generated in astronosphere of our planet on the depths of 100 to 100 kilometers.
So then you saying that it is infinite as well?
Yes, indeed.
That the world is producing it over and over again.
Yes.
But I do hear stories that oil fields are running out, and they're closing the oil fields because there's no oil anymore.
People take oil very quickly. And if we will come back to this oil field in 50, 60 years, we could see that new oil came to these oil fields. There are a lot of samples, for instance, in Romashkina oil field in Russia, in different oil fields in Russian Caucasus. After certain time, new oil came in old oil fields, and this oil could be only from the depths. We use oil, crude oil, to produce most of the fuel which we use for our vehicles and heating equipment. According to very known calculation, we do use only 15% of oil produced every year. 15%. We don't need to find new oil fields or gas fields. We don't need to accelerate oil and gas production. We just need to increase the efficiency of the processes which we used for our civilization. The amount of hydrocarbons in deposits, it's not a problem. The problem is, how do we use oil and natural gas?
But that's huge. What you're saying is that we could live in balance and in peace with oil, and which saves us millions of dollars. It would be economically and politically change the world on such a big scale you can't imagine.
Correct.
And I mean, why I'm not reading and seeing this in the mainstream media?
Your question is your answer.
So, does everybody get the gist of what this gentleman was saying? The first concept is that they want you to believe that there's a finite amount of it, and it only comes from decaying matter. So they classify it as a fossil fuel because of the hydrocarbons and that kind of stuff. But what this gentleman is saying, based on their experiments, they were able to show that the Earth, at a depth of 100 kilometers, the Earth is always producing, because it's under pressure, these hydrocarbons, because they exist naturally in the crust of the Earth, or below the crust of the Earth. And they find their way closer to the surface, and then they form in these pockets and that kind of stuff. So you find these methane or natural gas fields and that kind of stuff. And the important thing is that they went back to some of these supposed dried up oil fields, and they found that Mother Nature, Earth, starts replenishing these deposits again. So like if you so what he's saying is that if you come back in 50 years to that same oil field, like you move to a different one for 50 years, and then you come back to this other one, there's going to be natural gas and oil again in that field. And I just thought this was just like an amazing revelation to me, because
absolutely,
as a kid, I mean, it was always pounded in your brain. It's like fossil fuels, you know, oil, there's only a limited amount of it. Oil, you know, there's, you know, it's going to run out by blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So that when I saw this, it was just like, it was an amazing revelation, because it fits with the type of stuff that they would hide from us.
Yeah, and it also fits with the time again. Look at the
1800s.
Timing of the convention, 1892. This appears to be when, like, we're all figuring what began this period, this short period. So if something happened right around that time, the 1890s, it looks like all of these things are converging on this time frame. So why wouldn't it seems like the Rockefellers are probably the most evil family to wrestle, like, control. And what did they had to get us to believe this pseudoscience about fossil fuel so that they could take over transportation. Think about it. This is all about impeding us from moving freely. If they can control oil and tell us that it's scarce, then they can control us moving. You know what? You figured it all out, John. This is it. This is everything. It's all figured out tonight.
And it's the same players. It's always the same players. In this case, it was Rockefeller. But the Rothschild and BlackRock, and remember the name BlackRock, because it's going to be a name that's going to become highlighted here in the near future. So like when you have, like, they blame this minor strike on fuel shortages to scam people into paying for it. And that's what they do every cycle when they want to go through this cycle again of collecting money on these ridiculous taxes on businesses, like these carbon taxes and all these other, this vicious cycle. So, and we're paying for that. It's all about control. It's always been about control. It's never been about the people, in the sense that it's never been for the benefit of people. Yes, IG Rockefeller did create Big Pharma, and we'll do a whole show on that.
Yeah, because you have the petroleum based
Yes.
pharmaceutical. Now it's
Mhm.
just all connecting in terms of which family probably took the lead on wrestling the power of, think about, they got healthcare, they have transportation and food.
Mhm.
I mean, this is their whole, I mean, in banking, we don't even want to get into the banking thing because that's ridiculous how they control us through currency.
Yep.
But
Debt slavery.
oh my
Hey,
gosh, this,
Joanne. I forgot this one. This is, we were talking about the symbiosis and the symbiotic nature. Somebody actually attached a sound device to their aloe plant.
oh,
And so you could hear what their aloe plant sounds like before
oh,
and after they add water to it.
oh,
This
how
is
cute.
actually kind of cool.
Oh, I love it.
Let's see what happens when I water the plant. Let's listen.
Oh my God, beautiful. Oh, what?
That's cool.
That's a sound. Can you imagine amplifying that and playing that through your home? Okay, everybody, this is it. We got to turn this tide. We have to go and take our world back. This is how we do it. This is it, everyone. This is the time. This is your sign. We're taking the effing world back.
And to help with that, here's a few memes to help you take the world back. This is not that I don't
Open
love the other part of,
source. Open
not that I don't love
source.
the other part of the show. For whatever reason, I love laughing. I can't. I love
You have
memes. I
to.
can't even emphasize how much I love
We
memes.
know you. We know you do. And the way that we laugh, this is medicinal, okay? Imagine.
So I'm gonna
Imagine
start
our
out with,
first shindig. Imagine our first shindig, okay? It's gonna
oh
be,
yeah,
I'm planning the first shindig, everyone. You already know it's gonna be at Cumberland Island. You already know this.
yeah, it's gonna be with the horses. There's gonna be fig leaves and everything because she's got that fig tree in her backyard.
Oh my God, we're gonna have the best time dancing on the beach. You know, I'm gonna be DJing. We're gonna be on the beach, and then the horses are gonna be running around. Don't try to get a selfie with the horse, okay? I'm just warning
And
you.
you can't wear shoes. You gotta,
Definitely, you're grounding.
Here is a historical photo that I'll use for the first meme. Oh, come on, that's a little bit funny. Is your sound bad again, Jen? What it seems like the last couple shows at the end of end of the show, your sound goes out. So if you can hear me, we can't hear you. So I'm actually let's see here. I'm gonna type this for Jen here. Hold on. All right, there you go. Can't hear you, Jen. Okay, so we'll move on. I know she can watch, so we'll keep moving here.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Yes, they know her voice over to Target. That's right. Yeah, apparently the deep state doesn't like Jen. They don't want it. They don't want to hear her chuckle snorting because I know she would be chuckle snorting. This one's probably more true than you guys realize. I almost feel like I should have music or something going. Yes, good night, Tina. Have fun bathing the bulldog. Blessings to you too. Got to throw a chimp or a monkey in. Yeah. If I wasn't going to get some kind of copyright claim, I would play the Vapor song, Turning Japanese. That's a good song. But that's me in the morning half the time. And me, if conspiracy theories coming true was an Olympic sport, these would be the medals. Yes, Lady Knievel, at least you caught the memes. That's right. But you should, when you're done, go back and watch from the beginning because this was a very good show. I say that about all the shows, but is she back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my. I don't know what's going on. Thank you.
We wanted to hear you chuckle snorting. I'm like, where's she at?
I know, I was laughing. You guys couldn't hear me. I was talking to you guys and everything.
So,
oh my God.
So did you see this one?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
And between Jen and I, this is actually probably more true than we realize.
Oh my God, that was so funny. And he's drinking a Monster.
Yeah. and you saw the historical photo?
That I was like, what in the heck? Oh wait, I didn't see this. No way. That is
But that is so true, you know.
That is so true. That is so funny.
Make sure your Depends are on for this one.
Oh my God.
And since I'm guessing most of us have been in this movement for a little while, so this character, he's been used for a lot of memes, but I finally found an actual video. But unfortunately, well, no, it's a catch-22 because it has text on it, and somebody did make a meme out of the entire video. But this guy, every time I see him and I hear him laugh, I pee my pants. And you'll know who he is as soon as I play it.
Oh no.
Te llamo para que vaya a recoger las paelleras. Y me acuesto el sur, ya para abrir el restaurante que era el arroz. Y me llama el cocinero. Risita, ¿qué? Ve por la paellera. Venga, que a las 2 de la tarde ya están aquí. Miren, bañador. En las chanclas. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas y el bañador. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. Sí, porque estaba la paellera agarrada. Entonces siento la pierna de chipiona del paro. Y cuando entro en el restaurante me ve el cocinero con una paellera y a ver solamente paellera. ¡Anómate, mira dónde llega el agua! ¡Llegaba el agua del restaurante! ¡Y ya subió la marea! ¡Y tú! ¡Ay, qué te ahora! Con los dos sacos de la... ¡Ay, llama para Sevilla! ¡Llama a Sevilla! ¡Que traigo un
Oh my God.
Wow.
That is like beyond funny. Oh my God. Oh boy. That is so true. That's like an absolutely accurate meme. She probably really said this. Like,
She probably.
like she probably really did.
That's where all of our money's going anyway.
That's great.
And if it ain't going there to line the pockets of all these people, it's going for this debt relief for the student loan crap. So,
oh boy, unreal. Oh my God. Can you believe this? Like, this can't be real. This guy is really running the Ukraine.
yeah.
He can't be. He dances in stilettos. He twerks in stilettos. I wouldn't have, you couldn't have told me that this would have been the reality of our world. Like if you told me this in like 2019, I'd be like, are you on the strongest form of mushrooms? What are you talking about? We're talking about the president of Ukraine is twerking in stilettos. You really have hit your head, right? Wouldn't you? Like, come on. Oh my God. It helps at least to know that I think we're all becoming, we're on a consensus somewhat that we're in the short time. Okay. I love the thought of that. I want to explore that more because I know all my life I was conditioned to think we were going to go through the tribulation. They told us we were going to get our heads cut off. Like, remember all the scary crap? Like, you're going to have to take the mark or get your head cut off. Like, really? You really think like we went through all this hell and then we were going to go through 7 more years of hell? Like, who's going to sign up for that? Like, nobody. I don't believe it anymore. Everything's a lie. All we have to do is implement these like 3 things, everybody. 3. That's all.
That's right.
Open source. Nobody's getting rich off of any what is it? Like patents. No, get that out of your head.
That's right.
Nobody gets rich off of patents. That's the problem. That's why we got into this problem. It has to be open source.
Yes, it does. Kind of find. I thought I had it, but I know I have it.
Wow, everything's connecting you all, even down to like I'm thinking about the conversation I was having about.
Did we lose your sound again? We lost Jen. Jen, we lost you. Oh, geez. Anyway, if you can hear me, Jen, it's been a great show. Oh, there she goes. You guys, Karen, IG, Joanne, Casey, everybody's been here tonight. I know I'm missing somebody here. Tina. There she is.
Testing.
IG's, damn it, Jen.
What is happening? Somebody said that. Who was it? Karen posted something about Mercury retrograde, and it said like all of the technology is going wacko. Like that is so me right now. I laugh now. I'm not even upset. It used to
Yes,
get
Joe,
me
that's who
bummed
it was.
out. The old me used to get bummed out at that. I'm just laughing. I'm like, okay, you're going to try to keep me off of this stuff. I'm just going to keep coming back. I'll figure it out.
Maybe your chuckle snorting's affecting your electronics. I don't know.
Maybe. That might be it. Hey, Joanne. Joanne, hi.
Yes. It's been a great show, guys. I mean, you've all been wonderful. The chat's been lit. Only had to send somebody to the back of the class once, but she made up for it and was able to come back up.
That's great.
And Jen didn't have to get her spoon out or anything. And
yeah, and the spoon is nice and settled. Not yet. not quite yet, but this is so inspiring right now.
Isn't it? This is like one of those shows. I feel like I don't want to be bold and say a turning point. Let's just leave it at this was a lot of food for thought, and it hopefully it connected some dots for people, and it hopefully opened your mind a little bit about some things. So we'll, time will tell. But I it was kind of very syncretic, or a lot of synchronicity. There was a lot of things just kind of boom, 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 like they all kind of tied together. And I didn't necessarily put them together that way, but as we were going through them, they ended up being that way, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
God does some cool things.
He
if
does,
you let him.
and he has a sense of humor too, everyone.
Yes.
He's really good with humor. Like, look at what we're watching right now happen to all the bad guys. It's like they're all just becoming more clownish.
Yep. There's God, I had something. Let's see. You made me just think of something.
IG said we're in the Cheech and Chong School of Knowledge.
Yeah, actually, we are, because I love Cheech and Chong, especially Up in Smoke. There was a scene where they were sitting in the car, and it looked like they were driving, and of course, the car was full of smoke, and Cheech looks over at Chong, and he's like, "Hey, man, I feel like I'm wearing a dress, man." and he was wearing a dress. But they weren't driving. They were literally sitting on the side of the road the whole time. Like they thought they were like, you gotta love those movies. You just gotta love those movies.
Wow, what a funny franchise. Like those guys, you could never have another Cheech and Chong. Like, how did that even come together? But it was needed. It was needed for that time. It was needed for that time. Classics. Oh boy, everyone. We have some wonderful days ahead. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air tonight.
All right. So Since Jen brought it up, this is the one I was looking for.
I need that one too, you guys. That's great. Oh my goodness.
So there you go.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, and I've got a coupon for you guys here. Hold on a second.
Oh, wow. What did we do to deserve this? A coupon too? That's cute.
So there you go.
That's great. A coupon. Awesome.
Yes, Karen, Jah, the Most High is amazing. Let it flow. I think people like myself, even we always seem to have a hang up. We kind of get in our own way, and we're afraid of what other people are going to think about us, and we're afraid of, you know, people not liking what we're saying or doing or making fun of us. And I'm to the point now where, pardon my French, I do not give a shit about what people think about what I say or do. And that's very releasing. That's very cleansing for me to not, I care about people, but I don't care what they think of me. You know, I don't let that hold me back anymore. I don't, it's not a fear that I have.
Awesome. That's power. Like, that's like giving up the fear of death. It's that big when you stop caring about what people think. You know how they say it's not your business what people think about you. It isn't. It's not my business. It's really, what do you think of you? That's really all it comes down to. What do you think about yourself?
Absolutely.
First and foremost, it's not narcissistic. It's just it's the best way to orient yourself and to take back the power that these creeps have taken by making us think we should care about what other people think based on, these people are lost in a matrix. Like, they're wearing masks. Who cares what they think?
Right.
Yeah, they're out here wearing masks and putting masks on kids. You think I give a crap what they think?
Yeah, even I don't know if it was Mel Gibson. Let's see here. But there's a lot of people that are just that are done that have no filters anymore, and that's a good thing, because that shows me that the red line or the precipice has been reached with a lot of people. And I'm not going to say most, but a lot of people are probably going to do something about it. And there are people doing something about it. And by doing something about it, I don't mean going somewhere and whatever, or, you know, even just talking about it is doing something about it. And it's little things, little steps, little baby steps. But the key is that it can't go away. Like this has to be used as something that generations down the road are not going to forget about this.
Right. Yep.
So it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. We have to take notes. Definitely take notes and record this history. That's why it is important that we talk. We talk, like you said. That's the most powerful thing, is to use your voice.
Yeah, IG says, I've been made fun of by my own mother and just people in general, but I've always been self-taught. You could see through the bullshit. I am funny, sovereign girl.
Oh, I
Kudos.
love that.
Excellent.
That's
yes,
awesome.
Karen, do not compromise yourself for other people. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's been
me too.
hard lessons for us. But this helped us to see people for who they are. Like, we thought, differently, and 2020 showed us that, oh, maybe I don't know them at all.
Right.
So maybe I shouldn't care about what they think about me because I don't even know them.
There, there's just so many storylines that are ridiculous. That, and I tell people this all the time. How could you actually believe that what's happening is not a scripted event? And especially when I see stuff like this, Did we lose you again, Jen?
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Did you just show something? Did I get knocked out?
Oh, yeah, I did show something.
I missed the whole thing then. Oh.
I said, how could you not believe that all of this is like Clown World and a scripted show? Especially after seeing,
Oh gosh, no. This has to be Photoshop. I know I sound
It's
like
not.
a normie. Oh my God, I can't take that. That's real? That was a real picture? No way. It has to be Photoshop. This is when I want it to be Photoshop. Please.
This one's photoshopped.
Oh no. Good old Alec. He delivers, doesn't he?
Well, did you see what was on the laptop?
Yes.
Okay.
That's his only hope, huh?
Right. But the people have spoken. The people are speaking because people in Clown World that are causing all this are one by one going away.
Oh gosh. What a gosh. That thing. Yep.
Their antics are getting more and more noticeable. All the Fed boys are getting more and more noticeable on other little false flag events. And
Gosh. That's so disgusting.
it's almost like I'm doing a newsreel right now for that show for Man in the Crystal Tower or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get into that series. I don't get into series, it's like something. I have so many. Like, you give me a list of series. I just want to take a vacation and watch all these things. But that one
Oh, good night,
about
Karen.
Good night, Karen. Dropping off the radar. Oh wow, blessings. Okay, Josephine will be.
Josephine, there you go.
Yeah, Josephine will be saying her little prayers for you. Josephine prays, even though she's a bad cat. She does. She has a prayer life, I think.
But justice is coming for a lot of people.
Oh my!
And
that mug right there. That's a hard mug to look at. Woo! Only a mother could love that one. Mother Teresa. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Dang.
So
It's like he's eating all of those bugs and all that GMO. So maybe he isn't eating good food. Look at that guy. He's eating GMO food. He looks like he eats Count Chocula cereal every morning.
something.
Good gracious.
But a hat tip to the people that. It's funny how this show just took that's what I love about the show. It literally can be so eye-opening and prophetic and whatever in 1 minute, and the next minute we're talking about Clown World. And but hat tip to everybody that's put themselves out there and risked everything to help expose what's going on, especially this gentleman.
Oh yeah. I haven't heard about him in a while. That song, how does it go? His song.
Oh yeah, like
Remind me.
Jeez.
I love that song. I have to go listen to it. I haven't heard it in a year, maybe.
Oh man.
His rap.
It's right on the tip of my tongue too. It's always got that drum beat behind it.
I love it. I gotta hear it.
You know what? Hold on a sec. It'll probably get me kicked off of YouTube, but hold on. Let's see
Oh,
here.
that's right. You could find it. I don't think it's copyright. I think it's just like if you were to do a video and just start doing a
No,
song.
I meant because of who it is.
Oh, yeah,
Not-
yeah. I got you. Okay. Maybe. I just start laughing.
1221, take it away. Epstein Island, burn away.
That's great.
That's not the song that Jen's referring to, but he always had his own thing going on, and his
Exactly. Look at his
he's-
like even his production quality. He's just like
Yeah,
chilling
right.
in his room. Epic stuff. Cappy.
Oh, and here's something that's interesting. I just realized this. You remember the date that he put in that video? December 12/21, December 21st, Ghislaine Maxwell convicted.
Oh.
Take her away. What are the odds?
Ooh. Love it.
Yeah, remember? That was in that video.
Oh. Wow. I haven't
So you learned you learned something else tonight.
Mm-hmm.
See? Hold on. Listen to what he says.
1221, take it away. Epstein Island, burn away.
12/21, take it away. Epstein Island burns away. That's when she was convicted. Was 12/21.
Wow.
Long after Cappy had accidentally threw himself off a bridge into moving traffic.
Mm-hmm. On Route 66.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So kudos to people like Mr. Isaac Cappy and anybody else that is not taking the BS and exposing things at their level, whatever their level of comfort is, whatever part of society they're in. You know, it's happening all over. It's happening in Hollywood. It's happening in the music industry. It's happening in politics. It's happening at the water cooler at work. You know, it's happening in more places than people realize. So, IG, I hope you're right. I hope he is in protective, custody. But I don't know. Those are the kind of things I don't speculate about because I just don't know. And I would love to, in a perfect world, imagine after all this is over, some of these people were always there the whole time. And we were all celebrating on Jennifer's Island together. You know, it's like,
That doesn't sound good. Something about it. Jennifer's Island.
well, yeah, it's not
sounds
like deplane like Fantasy Island.
It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, it kind of does a little bit.
Dance. She makes us dance to 80s music
Squeal like a pig.
and drink kombucha.
Kombucha. Okay, I forgot about that.
That's Jennifer's Island.
Yeah, that dang Jennifer's Island. We made it out alive. It's like where the pirates went to hide their treasure. Jen knows where it's at, though.
You all have to knit and crochet. We're crocheting sweaters for the world.
Everybody be running across. What's that? Cumberland Island? What's it called?
Yeah, Cumberland Island.
Like this. Like. Well, obviously, if you're a girl, you won't have the redacted part, but
Pepe, that's fun.
gotta love Pepe. Gotta love him. But I truly believe, based on my feeling, like what the Lord's showing everybody, I really feel like some wonderful things are happening, and we're in this time of revelation, this time of awakening, and it's to the point where it's self-sustaining, like it can't be stopped now. Like doesn't matter what happens, it can't be stopped. So that's what I believe, and I'm pretty sure Jen believes that as well.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. The momentum. Yep.
Let's see. IG says, remember what POTUS 19 said a while ago, wait till you see who is really speaking to you.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh boy. Lots
If I had some of that horror movie music, I would have just played it right there, like that. Ding, 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 ding. Like the plot twist music. Like the
Right. And then
so Jen, when's your next show? When are you doing another show so these people know when to hop on?
I do the Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday radio. So tomorrow 11, I call it brunch radio, and then at 11 p. I may do a live stream tomorrow. I'm not quite certain of the time, but in between those two shows, I may do a live stream.
Okie doke.
I'll keep everyone posted on that.
Please do. I usually find it by accident because I don't get YouTube notifications. It's funny because this is like just to add cherry on top of Clown World. A lot of the notifications from the YouTube channels that I follow, including Jen's, go into my spam folder on Google. Like, so I don't see them in my regular mail. I have to actually look for them. And they're the same company, and they consider their own notifications spam or promotions or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I just find that hilarious.
Yeah, it just shows you how clownish they haven't thought everything out. You get to see it. They're not very, you just realize evil people just, we've heard they're smart, and yeah, they are to a degree, but then they're not also.
It's like we give them way too much credit.
Yeah, I'm finding that to be the case.
Let's see here. I thought I had one more thing, but that's fine. But anyway, I hope everybody got something out of this, including the crazy stuff at the end here. We always have to end with some funny stuff and some realness, some real world stuff, because it's our reality right now. And I know a lot of people just don't want to talk about it because they're afraid of losing their YouTube channel, or they're afraid of people going against them or whatever. I don't care. I've got plenty of means of getting to people, not just YouTube. And YouTube's just convenient for a lot of people, and that's kind of the bad thing. But because there's an app you can watch on your television, which I know a lot of people do. But I will say Rumble's making some moves lately, and I think once they get everything, all their ducks in the row, I think once they have a television app and some other small minor things, it'll be just as easy to watch a stream on Rumble as it is on YouTube. So
that'll be good. I mean, because I'm the same way. I'm torn about YouTube. I didn't want to just run away after they took my channel. I wanted to keep fighting and stay on the platform because we have built this platform. So we shouldn't abandon it. And we've built it, and they wouldn't have it without the content of the creators, the everyday creators, not the big corporate sponsored ones, but the everyday people. That's how this platform grew and became as great as it is, because it does have great qualities. You could literally learn anything. I had to change a filter in the refrigerator. I didn't know how to do it. I go to YouTube, and somebody just had the exact issue. They did it, and then what did they do? They created a video to tell you how they did it, and that's like the best way to learn.
It is. That's how I learned a lot of stuff. I'm a pretty handy person and a techie. Well, with tech stuff, I usually don't have to watch videos, but with just general stuff like homeowner stuff, kind of things, I'll have to have to watch videos about, like your case, specific appliances or specific applications, whatever. Geez, must be the chemtrails. But it has opened up a broader arena for people to learn and about anything you want to learn about. Like you stated, there's not a subject that you can't learn about on the old interwebs. And I have a number of channels I watch where I learn a lot of just general information about things I'll probably never use, but it's cool to learn because I just like learning. And like even though like the car I'm working on, even though it's a Pontiac, it's a GTO, one of the channels I watch, he does exclusively Mopars, which is Dodge stuff.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of the stuff that he talks about and teaches carries over to just about every manufacturer. And plus he's like my kind of guy. He's like somebody I'd have a beer with. He's just like real down to earth, real scruffy kind of, he doesn't care what people think about him. And I like those kind of salt of the earth kind of people.
Yes, that's what's beautiful about it. I mean, we can knock this stuff, but where would we be if we didn't have this ability to connect and to share information? We would be pretty messed up with this clown world that's going on. We wouldn't know.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. Like, that is a scary thought. Now, I don't get scared of a lot, but that's a scary thought. If we didn't have the ability to connect, because we would not have met each other otherwise. We're in so many different places. How would we have come together? When am I going to run into Joseph in a coffee shop like in Ireland?
Right.
How would I have met him?
Right.
And he's the one that turned me onto the mud flood. Imagine that. If I hadn't met him all the way in Ireland, I wouldn't have gone down the mud flood. And then that literally strengthened my faith in God. Like all of this has, really. A lot of people want to downgrade all of the stuff we went through from 2020. A lot of us became closer to God, even though we left our religion, some of us, or left our churchy type of stuff. Some of us. I'm not knocking church for everybody, but for me, I came to the end of my churchhood. And but I'm closer to God, and I feel better.
God's got a lot of free downloads right now for people who want them.
Yeah, definitely. And to be a lifelong student, never stop learning.
Yeah, never stop learning. That's absolutely sure. And IG says, and we are a community here. We all have learned from each other. Let's keep it going, y'all. Absolutely.
That's right, IG. We have more road to cross. Although, wow, John has covered everything tonight. We could still try to. We can review. Okay, let's review what we went over tonight.
I'm gonna burn your brains out again. But if you weren't here at the beginning, I don't say it a lot about these shows, but you should watch this one from the beginning, because there was something. God's hand was moving on this one. There's something. He was helping me connect all these different dots, and just boom, 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 like present this, do this, say this, show this, talk about this.
It's an anointing on you. Yep, an anointing on you. This was very anointed and appointed, as they say. You've been appointed.
Appointed. There you go.
And anointed to give this message, and you did this work. Thank you so much for all this research you've done and putting this together. This is amazing. You do so much work.
I appreciate it, and you as well. I mean, you're like the mother of the diggers, and Like the Queen of Dragons, the Mother of Diggers. Like, there's a title for you.
Love it. I've got it.
HBO can't have that. Mother of Diggers.
Or salty graham cracker.
Salty graham cracker. The salty brunette.
It's salty brunette. Oh my god.
Oh man. It's been wonderful, guys. Truly, this has been such a tight-knit group. I absolutely love it. And I would rather have this than have trying to read 200 people talking at the same time or posting stuff at the same time and dealing with shills and all this other crap.
Oh yeah.
So you guys have been amazing. Jennifer, thank you so much again for being here. This is one of the reasons why I do this show is because you're here. It's hard for me to do shows by myself. So I like having that person to bounce things off of and chuckle, snort, and everything else. And just, it makes it fun.
It truly is. Thank you for everything. Love you.
Anti of diggers.
Anti of diggers.
Not the anti-digger. Anti. A-U-N-T.
We could get in trouble with that one if you do.
Tongue
twister.
I know.
It's like, that could go somewhere.
Just like that South
silly.
Park episode, if anybody's ever seen it. Same kind of idea.
Okay.
It was based on the Wheel of Fortune or whatever.
Okay.
And they were, hold on a sec here. The way the guy was describing it was just priceless. I think it was on South Park. Hold on here. So if you haven't seen this episode, it's based obviously on so they kept doing all the clues, they do the clues for the words.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would put all these like people who know you. There was like 10 of them. And you could tell he was sweating, and he was like he didn't want to say what he wanted to say.
God, I gotta look this up.
And it was Naggers, Naggers. But yeah, see, it was.
Oh no!
But all the descriptions were like so charged, just like. Jeez.
Oh my god, that sounds funny.
But it's just, I don't know. It just whatever that you just did there just reminded me of that.
It's always
see how my brain works. I always remember just random crap.
Right, it's like all that info. We definitely want John on our team. We're doing like playing Trivia Pursuits, right?
Or Cards Against Humanity.
No, he's on our team. No, he's on our team. No.
It's like that commercial where they're like picking like for football or basketball or whatever, and you got all these kids, and then there's Charles Barkley standing there.
Oh, that's cute.
So of course, Charles Barkley gets picked. Just kind of.
Right. Exactly.
But no, I've had this idea for something for a while, and it never came to fruition because, of course, I got sidetracked and started doing shows and stuff like that. But one of the ideas I had, and I think this would be cool, like after things have settled down a little bit, it was like a show kind of loosely based on Hollywood Squares, if you remember that show.
Oh, that does sound fun.
But called Patriot Squares.
Oh.
And so we would invite people on the show that would occupy like those squares. Like these would be people like in the movement, truthers, whatever you want to call them, or people, good politicians, whoever, like anybody could be on.
Right.
And so you would be asking questions about like the world we live in, kind of like to see how people perceive it.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Questions about like American history, questions about the old Rona fraud, and
definitely. Wow.
just all kinds of random stuff. And then there would be like prizes or something would go to a charity or something like that for the winner, and like they could pick the charity of their choice for whatever,
That's a good
but
idea.
I just thought it would be kind of cool. It would be kind of like a camaraderie kind of thing, get people. And if they didn't know a lot of the topics or the subjects, maybe it would educate some people,
Oh, definitely. It sounds like it would. Edutainment.
So maybe we can do that someday. Who knows?
That sounds like fun. Wow. Great
Patriot
idea.
Squares. There you
Patriot Squares. I love it.
In this case, it would be Johnny Patriot Squares.
Johnny Patriot Squares. That's right. Get on it. Let's get a logo.
Like Bob
going.
Barker. Just like
right. Bob Barker.
Or what's his name in Vegas? It's been there for like 90 years.
Wayne
Newton. There you go.
Wayne Newton. Yeah, Wayne Newton.
Let's see. Starlink be kicking in soon. Maybe that's why old internet is effing slow.
That would be great. I like that idea.
Well, I will say this, IG. Think about this. You brought up a good point. Because one of the threats has always been if they can't control the narrative and they're getting beat up too much with all this stuff, Johnny Patriot Square cereal. Nice.
That's great.
That they might attempt to shut down the old interwebs so there could be no communication, so the narrative couldn't be hurt, kind of thing. Like they would. But if you think about it, Elon Musk is not the greatest fan of social media platforms right now, especially Twitter. And all of his, I think, 27 Starlink satellites are in orbit now. And there are some countries that are using it with amazing results. I guess the speed's phenomenal. And you can be anywhere. You can be in your car, out in the middle of the desert, whatever, and still get internet service. So I've always had the hunch that that if they tried to, because they couldn't control the narrative anymore, and it was coming close to midterms, and they wanted to cancel the election, which I still think they might try to do. Like they could declare martial law. I think that's why they're trying to get in these wars with Russia and all these other countries. Like they're trying to piss people off, China, because they could then declare martial law, and then they could ixnay the election that they know they're going to lose. So, but if for some reason the interwebs and stuff goes down, I have a feeling that they already have a plan in place that Starlink would be part of that. So there would literally be very little interruption or loss of communication for any length of time. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, though. Yeah, Russia does have their own. That's true. I like the idea of Johnny Patriot Square cereal, though. I might have to think about that.
I love it.
Made with real figs.
There you go.
And kombucha.
Instead of milk, you add kombucha.
Yeah. Jack, me some kombucha flakes. Oh man. Yeah, we're getting a little slap happy now, so it's it's that time where we have to poetically bow out. And but Jennifer, thank you again so much. And if you have any questions, guys, just post them in the comments. And if you want to catch Jen's stuff, her channel and everything will be posted there as well. So with that being said, good night, everybody. Love you all. And until next time, stay frosty.
Yay. Take care.